but we definitely don't want big chunks. We're not making a salsa, we're making a sauce. And yes, I am aware salsa essentially just means sauce, but you know what, exactly what I mean, so don't get facetious. I need a new chopping board. Hint, hint, peoples. I want a nice big one that covers all of this area, but trying to decorate a house and I've got other priorities at the moment. You never know, I might get someone want to sponsor me with a new chopping board. Action. Watch out. Right. Don't mind that, we'll get to that in a second. I'm making a chicken parm. Or chicken parmesan. Or I think it's also, I have seen it written down as chicken parmigiana. But it's Italian-American dish, if you've never had it. You see it a fair bit over here in the Italian restaurants as well. Most Italian restaurants do it. It's essentially chicken schnitzel. Chicken bashed really thin and breaded, and then stuck under the grill with some basil and some mozzerella and some parmesan. Usually served with pasta and a tomato sauce. Actually, chicken parm needs the pasta sauce as well. This tomato sauce, I've had on the go for a little while, so we're just gonna go back in time, rewind, and get that done. So this is a nice, simple tomato sauce. Tomato pasta, Italian style tomato sauce. It's actually quite basic. It's simple, but it's beautiful in its simplicity, if I say so myself. Works quite well for pizzas. It works quite well with a bit of pasta. Obviously, we're going to have it with pasta, and it's going to be the chicken parm tomato sauce, but it's going to be with the pasta. Basis of it is a couple. I've got a couple of shallots I'm going to use just because I've got them. Normally, I would probably make this with onions. I'm fairly certain I've done this sauce before. It might have been back in the days when this channel was a blog, not a YouTube channel. And I think I went through a similar sort of recipe on there. It's pretty much, tomatoes are absolutely beautiful. In this, if it's in season, you can get nice fresh tomatoes, especially if you've got some nice homegrown ones. Use those. But there's nothing wrong with using good quality tinned tomatoes. Nothing at all. But cook it long enough and you just get really nice, sweet, almost like a sweet and savoury, because tomatoes are naturally quite sweet, but also they're quite umami, meaty, savoury as well. So the secret to a good pasta sauce, secret to a good tomato sauce is time. More than anything, cook it, give it time, let it cook through. So I'm dicing this quite fine because I like the texture more than anything of not having loads of mouthfuls of onion or whatever. If you're okay with being able to detect chunks of onion in your sauce, by all means just slice it, chunk it, dice it. So pan, preheated it, quite a decent glug of olive oil. Need to refill that. So we're going to go in there with, that might be up a bit high, turn that down. We don't want to fry the crap out of these onions. We, like I said before, low and slow, we're just going to, not confit, but sweat them right down. I don't really even want to get much colour on them, so I'm going to take that off the heat for a second, let it all cool down. Mucked up a bit there, but you know, we're all learn from the mistakes. I would argue this sauce doesn't need garlic either, but I like a bit of garlic, who doesn't? So this is quite small cloves, so I'm just going to chuck in 2. I made quite a small portion as well. This stuff lasts a couple of days in the fridge. You can freeze it as well. So I'm going to make a single serving of chicken parm, as I might have already mentioned. So I won't need much of this at all. The rest of it will go in a bit of Tupperware, in some Tupperware, in the fridge, and have it for lunch with some pasta and a bit of grating of parmesan. Really want the garlic to just melt away. If you really don't want any discernible garlic, you can leave the garlic out, or you can just crush the whole cloves, chuck them in there, and fish them back out later. But kind of like a Paulie and Goodfellas, you want it really nice and fine so it just dissolves into the sauce. And again, we're going to cook this so long that this isn't going to be sharp, hot garlic. This is going to be sweet, mellow garlic. Right, that's fine enough for me. Good enough for the girls I'll go out with. That's going to go in there as well. Let that sweat right down. Right, and to this we're also going to add about a tablespoon of tomato paste. That's done for. There you go. Tomato paste. And we're just going to cook all that through. Let that raw, let all those onions mellow right out. Same with the garlic. Sweat them all right down, cook them through, and then we're going to chuck in a few bits and pieces. What we are going to do is give it a bit of season now though, decent pinch of salt. Tomato, I kind of almost, and a bit of pepper as well, almost kind of treat tomato like meat in the way I season it, like a beef. It is essentially a savoury fruit, if you ask me. It can be quite sweet, but it takes a lot of seasoning. It's quite heavy in the umami sort of side of things. So it's always nice, season it heavily, and you get, it really does help bring through that sweetness. Oh, and another thing is I like quite a hefty pinch of crushed chilies in there, just to bring through a bit of heat. That's completely optional. Right, cook that all for about, only not even 5 minutes, just to cook out the onions, the raw tomato paste. Chuck in a tin of tomatoes, good quality tomatoes. These are Italian. These are also whole, so I'm going to crush them up, good and proper. If you want to get in there with a masher, if you're using whole tomatoes, you don't really want chunks. Small chunks are all right, but you don't want big chunks. Or you can use your hands, not in the pan obviously, you could burn them, put that in a bowl and then crush them in the bowl. Alternatively, you can use passata, you can use tinned crushed tomatoes. If you're using fresh tomatoes, I would run them through a food blender probably, just to get a nice, I want to say creamy, not creamy, nice, smooth consistency. But we definitely don't want big chunks. We're not making a salsa, we're making a sauce. And yes, I am aware salsa essentially just means sauce, but you know what, exactly what I mean, so don't get facetious. I'm going to add classic American Italian flavourings of oregano, which I don't know whether you'd call it, whether it's really traditional Italian or not to have a oregano heavy sauce. And what else are we adding? We're going to add some basil. Oh, basil. So I'm going to get a couple of nice little big twigs. Twigs? Is it? No, it's not called a twig. What is it called? Sprig. That's the word. A couple of sprigs of basil in there. We're also going to add water. So I'm going to rinse out this, get some of that extra tomato juice out. Probably about half that tin in there. Because now, for the secret ingredient, which isn't secret because I've already mentioned it, thyme. We're going to cook this low and slow for about 45 minutes at least. Obviously, as this cooks, the water's going to evaporate. It's going to reduce down. If we didn't put the water in there, the tomato would go completely dry and then it'd burn before we cooked it as long as we wanted to. So essentially, like, we're essentially braising these tomatoes. So we're adding a load of water in there so that water can cook off. It will leave the tomato behind and we're going to get that long, low, slow cook time that we really want. So just on a low heat, we want the odd little burble. You might want to turn it up a bit at the beginning, get it going, because you just put a load of cold water in there, a load of cold tomatoes. This at the moment is all quite cold. Right, so once it's come to a bit of a simmer, drop it to the lowest heat you've got. Just have the odd little bubble. Just, you know what I mean. Just very slow, gentle simmer in the background for at least about 45 minutes. Then we'll come back and we'll make our chicken parm. So now that's been bubbling away, reducing and simmering away for about half hour, 45 minutes. This is quite, that's special. It's not a special meal to me, but this is the beginning of lockdown. There was two things I cooked, because I had some chicken breasts and I had some breadcrumbs, and because we were in lockdown, I had all the time in the world, so I was like, do you know what? I'm gonna try and cook some things that normally I wouldn't have the time or the patience to cook. I cooked chicken parm, and then I cooked katsu curry. And then after I cooked those two things, do you know what? Maybe I can finally start doing that YouTube thing that I've always wanted to be doing. Can't put a camera in the kitchen anywhere, so I can put a camera on my head, because J. Kenji Lopez Alt has started doing loads of stuff as well around the house with a camera on his head, and I was like, right, I can nick the guy's. I'm kind of stealing his style, but I haven't got much other sort of choice. I haven't got the room to do like a Babish sort of setup, and I haven't got someone else to hold a camera to do sort of like a, like Matty Matteson and Brad Leone, all of those sort of stuff, or Tom Straker. I haven't got a camera person, and I don't want to do like just a camera down on the thing like Joshua Wiseman and that sort of stuff. So I thought, right, let's take a camera on my head. I've got loads of GoPros and batteries and stuff. So this is essentially, even though I've not done it on the channel, one of the meals that kick-started the channel. So I thought I'd go back and I'd actually do it. Relatively simple, don't need too much. You've seen what's already gone in the pasta sauce. We're going to dredge. We think we did it for, the only time I think I'm doing it is with the Wikizinger Tower Burger. Link up the top that I did a while ago. We've got some flour, we've got some panko breadcrumbs. Any breadcrumbs will do. We need an egg, flour, egg, breadcrumbs, make a nice crispy bit of chicken, and then we're going to do some other bits and pieces to it. So the first thing we've got to do is we've got to butterfly this chicken, slice it almost all the way through and just flatten it out and open it up. So with a nice sharp knife, get yourself a chicken breast. I don't know why you need a knife to get a chicken breast, don't go robbing chicken breasts. And what you want to do is, usually a chicken breast will have a straight edge there and then this round a bit. I prefer to cut this and leave this attached. So we're just gonna, with our knife, nice sharp knife, go in about halfway through, just leave it with a little bit of a meat hinge at the back. So this is quite a thick chicken breast. So what we're gonna do, if you've got mad knife skills, you can then do another fillet, another cut and another cut and open it, keep opening it up. I haven't got mad knife skills. So what we're going to do is give our hands a wash first, because we've had some raw chicken on them. Oh, and also if you're cooking along with Habs, I've got some oil in a pan preheating, just in case, just to pre-warn you, because we're going to fry it. Cling film over our chicken, and then if you've got a meat mallet, use your meat mallet. I don't have a meat mallet. I've got a real mallet, but I have tried using real mallets in the past and they don't do too good with softer things like chicken. Not hot, cool, room temperature. Nice heavy frying pan, any pan will do. Just hammer it out. We want to get it as thin as possible really, so it cooks at a nice, even, about, if you can get it to the thickness of a pound coin, brilliant. A little bit thicker than that will be alright. Now that can just sit there and chill out for une minute. While we get our dredging station ready. That's basil. Oh yeah, what we've also got here, got some leaves of basil, and I've got some minced up, finely diced basil. We'll come to that in a minute. I need a bit of butter as well. I'll sort that in a sec. Right. So if you've never breaded anything, you need egg yolk. You don't need egg yolk, you need an egg. You can use just egg whites. I'm only doing the one. You might want 2 eggs if you're doing 2. If you're doing 4 of these, you'll probably want 2 eggs. 1 egg will probably be enough for 1, maybe 2 breasts. Just give that a little mix up. And I'm running out of space. We need some flour. Not loads of flour, but some flour. This is just plain all-purpose flour. Right, in our flour, we are going to decent pinch of salt, and some pepper. I'm also going to add in, for that authentic, traditional American Italian flavour, some garlic powder. About a teaspoon, a bit less than a teaspoon. About the same with onion powder, about slightly less than a teaspoon maybe. Decent, oh, a bit too much there, not too bad, not too much though. Oregano, give that a mix. We're going to add a bit of this flour in with the egg, just to kind of make a bit of a slurry. Just going to help everything adhere. Doesn't matter if it gets a bit lumpy. And last but not least, our Panko breadcrumbs. Don't have to be Panko, it can be any breadcrumbs. Woo. A couple of tablespoons of them on there. And a 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4, chicken in the flour. Make sure we are 100% coated. Then we're going to go from there into our egg slurry. Dry hand, wet hand. Get 100% coating. Then from there into our breadcrumbs. Give everything a press together. Wash your hands. And I'm going to have a bit of a clear down because I've got loads of stuff about that I don't need. Next, that can be done quite a bit in advance. You could do that, leave that in the fridge while you make out this pasta sauce. I've gone and done the pasta sauce first. Right, so now I've got a frying pan with some vegetable oil. Any frying oil will do. We're going to go in there with that. So once it's fried, what you can do to test that it's hot enough is just grab one breadcrumb, drop it in there. It should instantly start sizzling. Then we're going to go in there with our cutlet. And while that's frying, I'm just going to get some kitchen roll ready. If you've got an old tea towel that you want to use, you can use that instead. Just going to get it out and put it on that just to soak up some of that moisture. You want the oil quite hot, you want to fry it quite quickly. If you've got the chicken quite thin, it'll only take a couple of minutes either side. So that is going to fry it. When it comes out, we're going to put some basil leaves on it, slices of mozzarella, gratings of parmesan, whack it under the grill. Then we're going to bring it all together with a pasta sauce. We're going to cook some pasta, bring it all together. So, but now, patience, and fry our chicken cutlet. Probably going to want to turn around about 3 minutes or so. 3 to 5 minutes. Nice golden brown. You can, if you want, get some water on the go for our pasta. Don't have to rush though. You can take this all at your own time. Cook at your own pace. Concentrate on cooking that chicken, especially if you're not that comfortable with frying stuff. Right, check the other side of our chicken. Beautiful. Right, we'll take that out, put that on there, turn that off. Next step, get our grill on medium high to high jobby. So we're going to chuck some basil leaves, whole basil leaves, straight on top of this. And then we are going to give it a grating of parmesan. And then we're going to, you can slice your mozzarella if you want. I prefer to rip and tear it. Nice parmesan, as much as you dare to put on top. Get a decent coating. I like to leave a crispy perimeter around the outside and leave a little bit of the basil exposed as well, because I do like on a pizza when the basil gets a little bit charred. And that is going to go under our grill. Oh wait, no, another, oh God, calm down son. I like to give it another grating of parmesan on the top as well. And then that bad boy is going under our grill. And I'm also going to put my pasta on at the same time. What I'm going to do is, if you want to fish out the basil, you can. Because that's not going to be, it's done what it's supposed to do. It's imparted its basil flavour. I might want to give it a taste. See if it wants anything. It might need a bit of salt. But that's all it will need. A bit of salt. Doesn't need no sugar. Doesn't need any anything to sweeten it up. Just needs time. I've made more than I need here, so I'm going to get that in a container. Like I said, this, keep it in the fridge for a couple of days. You can freeze it if you want. Goes well on pizzas, goes well on pasta, obviously. You can do meatball sub with it if you wanted. Keep an eye on this because it won't take too long for that to get a bit melty. But you do want to get a little bit of colour on there as well. So keep an eye on it. So you see it starting to brown a bit there. We want that all over, so you might need to move it around a bit. Right, there we are. Nice little bit of crispiness, nice little bubbliness. Put that somewhere safe. You can turn your grill off now. Just waiting for our pasta. Just getting there. We want to get this to just about a minute before it's cooked. About a minute before that's done. So we're going to get our pasta sauce. A decent ladle full. I'm just doing the one serving. I'm going to go in there with a couple of ladlefuls of our pasta cooking water, which is going to be nice and starchy. And then we're going to go in with the pasta as well. And we're going to finish our pasta off in the sauce. So what it's going to do, it's going to suck up that water that we just put in there when it finishes cooking. You're going to take that sauce on with it. So it's going to just super enrich everything with that nice bit of starch and a nice bit of flavour and seasoning. And if you don't mind about making a bit of mess, you can give it a good toss, but you will probably splash it everywhere. And in order to kick this up to 11, we're not doing this healthy way. I'm going to chuck in about a tablespoon of butter, half a tablespoon of butter per person, I'd say. To get that all, once that melts and runs through everything, it's going to just help everything emulsify and enrich, and it's going to be beautiful. Right, last but not least, going to go in with that minced, sliced, chiffonaded fresh basil right at the last minute, essentially as much as for a garnish as anything. Pull all that together. You see how lovely and rich that tomato sauce is now. That's what butter will do for you. Give it all a taste if you want, just to make sure, but I mean that, sorry, took away a mouthful. That right there, just pasta and a tomato sauce, is simple and absolutely bloody beautiful. You'd be more than happy eating that on its own. It's absolutely banging. I'm just going to give that a little lick of parm, and then we're going to go top of this bad boy, chicken parm. And of course, I'm going to give that another whack of parmesan on top of there, because why the hell would you not? And then we're going to remember to take a photo. Tell me that, I know I say it, tell me that don't look beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous food, and it's simple, and there's not all that much in there. Just a bit of mozzarella, parmesan, tomatoes, oregano, chicken breast, breadcrumbs. You can eat the chicken parm on its own, really. I mean, it's fine on its own. It's bloody divine. Make this, eat this, tell me that you love it. If you hate it, you hate it. Don't just go and tell me you love it, but make it, you will love it. It's beautiful. Right, I'm gonna take some photos, get eating, then editing, because it's day before I'm gonna put it up, and I haven't got as much of a buffer video at the moment. But see you when I see you. Be good, if you can't be good, be lucky. And like, comment, subscribe, comment, hit me up on Instagram, all of that jazz. And you never know, one day maybe we'll be in the garden soon with our new barbecue. And eventually one day maybe we'll be in the garden with our Gosney pizza oven. But we'll get there one day, peeps. Alright, love yous. I'm gonna have to love you and leave you. See you later, boy.